Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2018 annual Southwick Supercross. It's going to be a dandy one out there. Back to you, Jeff. Oh my God, dude. There is some crazy politics going on behind the scenes between all of your head honchos over there at EMF and your guys that came over from RF that are now working with EMF. But first of all, let's just talk about the track a little bit, okay? So I would say 99% of people in chat during this race were all in agreement that the terrain deformation was way too high. We were all like, what is this, dude? This is crazy. It was literal Southwick in 4 laps, dude. Like Southwick, dog. And I'm not over-exaggerating whatsoever. And the other 1% of people were just like, oh, dude, this is kind of fun. This feels like Southwick. But they were still admitting that it was basically Southwick. So if you guys don't know, the main dude behind all of this terrain deformation, and he's also been making a couple of the recent tracks for the pro racing, is a guy named Chris Riesenberg, aka Checkers, and he actually came from RF. And whenever everybody was typing in chat upset about the terrain deformation, guess what he does? He goes in there and types in chat, LOL, haha, you guys are so funny. You're just overreacting. What the fuck? What the actual fuck, Checkers? I don't know what goes on in that mind of yours, but you're way off on this one, dude. And let me tell you this right here. If you have 99% of your pro racers all in agreement on something, that's not overreacting. I know you're just trying to cover your ass here and protect yourself and try to soften the blow a little bit because you know a lot of people are pissed at you, but that's not the way to go about doing it. You're acting like it's all some joke, like this series is just some big joke. Is everybody's money that they spent on the series just some joke? Is everybody's time and effort that they put in to be ready for the series just some joke to you? Because that's what you're acting like. You're acting like, oh, we're all just pussies because we can't handle this 1,000 a road on the track. Like you're doing this mental thing where you're acting like we're not manly if we can't handle the ruts on the track that you're putting on the track, and you like keep wanting to make it more and more, and you're trying to make these tracks where they've got way more terrain deformation on them because, oh, we're just not manly enough for it and shit. Like, what are you doing, dude? What are you trying to prove? I honestly don't get it. I mean, there's a reason why we actually have a Southwick National in this game. There's a reason why we actually have outdoor races. We don't want our supercross tracks to be motocross tracks. What don't you understand about that, dude? Like, you're acting as if we just all, like, really want this or something. It's crazy, dude. I mean, I'm not saying there's some people that just don't like the terrain deformation and stuff like that. I mean, there's definitely people that like it, but it's one of those things where it's like, dude, like, when we're all saying this is way too much, like, we mean that. That ain't just some joke, man. There's a time and a place to joke around, but a professional series is not the place to do it. And not that you're the kind of guy to, you know, try to soften the blow or try to get the attention off of you by making a joke about something or anything. No, not that you're that kind of guy or anything, but that's just not the way to do it, dude. You're over here in some other fairy tale land, and these people that are actually serious about this series are not down for that, dude. They're like, what are you doing, man? Oh, by the way, sorry there, 39. I think that was Shipley. That was my bad. I thought I was going to be able to hit that quad ski there, but misjudged it a little bit when you messed up on that rhythm there. That was my bad, though. But, yeah, dude, like, what? I don't see how you are the main guy behind the steering wheel with this entirely new feature into pro racing. Like, what? How is that even possible? I don't get it. There shouldn't just be one guy, and there should be dudes in the 450 Pro Racing that have direct input on how the terrain deformation is. There should be dudes that are in the 250 Pro Racing that have direct input on it. And it just seems like you got one dude over here just saying, well, fuck it. If they can't handle it, then they're just a bunch of pussies, dude. We're putting that terrain deformation on 1,000, man. Yeah, dude. It's like he's just wanting to put as many ruts on the track as he possibly can to try to make it as chaotic as he possibly can. But for what reason? Like, there's no reason in that, dude. There's absolutely no reason. This is the most unprofessional I've seen MX Simulator at any point. And I hate to just say it's like EMF because see, that's the whole problem they got going right now. So with the whole drama between EMF and RF, if you guys don't know, Peter Like was the guy that did the protest for RF. Well, now he's doing the protest for EMF, okay? He's one of the guys that does the protest for EMF. And during this race, in the chat, Peter Like and another one of the main dudes from EMF were talking back and forth, like almost like fighting. I mean, it was crazy. Shit, I thought they were going to protest each other. I thought they were going to suspend each other. Two guys working on the same series together are literally talking in chat like just two random people hating on each other. I mean, it was crazy. Peter Like was saying something like, he was saying, he was like, don't be airing out your dirty laundry in public like this, and just crazy shit. It's like, what is going on, man? I mean, listen, you dudes over there that used to be at RF, if you were going to put this much effort into it, why didn't you just do it on RF? Like, what's the point here? And you guys over there at EMF, I don't know if you realize this, but now it's making EMF look bad. All this crazy shit that Checkers is doing and what Peter Like is doing, now it's making you look bad. So, because you're the actual group and organization that's running this event. So, it's one of those things where when people get mad about the terrain deformation and they type in chat, yo, EMF, what's going on? Because EMF is running the series, EMF types in there and says, hey, it's not our fault. We don't have any control over that. We're not even the guys that make the tracks, and we're not even the people that handle the terrain deformation. Like, don't blame us, you know? So then they go, okay, well, who did make the track? Oh, okay, let's go over there to Checkers. What's going on, dude? Why is it like this? And Checkers is over there going, ha ha ha, you guys, you're just over-exaggerating, man. You're just overreacting. Oh, you 99% of people, nah, you're just overreacting, man. You guys aren't serious. No, you're just overreacting. It's like, what the fuck? And there's just no consistency to it whatsoever, man. It's not looking good for MX Simulator right now, dude. I mean, EMF, you can't even fill the gates up in the heat race in the 450 class. Like, you're obviously doing something wrong, and it's EMF or the guys that are from RF working in EMF. It's some of you guys are doing something wrong, because back whenever I first got into the pro racing back in 2015, you would have 100 people trying to qualify just in the 450 Pro class, and now there's like 30. They don't even have full gates in the heat races. So, well, where did all those people go? Well, shit, I don't know. Maybe the fact that you just added this terrain deformation system completely out of nowhere and your execution on it was absolute shit? I don't know. That might be a reason. Like, listen, I understand you're trying to push the game forward. You're trying to innovate and push the whole genre forward. But when you lose a third of your fan base, you lose a third of that 100 of amount of people in there, is it even really worth it at that point anymore? I don't think so. And the other third of people has dropped off when you guys started charging to race in these pro races. You started making people pay to race. And I understand the whole side of it where it's, you think you should be compensated for putting in all that time and effort in running the series. I understand that. But it gets to that point where there won't even be anyone racing in the series to pay you anyways if you keep doing stuff like this. Do you understand? Like, if a third of the people are gone from the terrain deformation system and a third of the people are gone from you guys making us pay to race, that only leaves 1/3 left. And you can't even fill the gates up. So when you can't even fill the gates up, now you're creating where it doesn't even really mean anything to win anymore because you don't even have full gates. Like, it's totally degrading what a win actually means now in pro racing. You know what I mean? Because there's not even enough people racing anymore. So that's what I'm saying. You can say, well, I need to be compensated for doing this, but if no one's even racing, then you're not going to get compensated for shit. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like they should take all of their prizes, all their prize money, the $900 custom helmet, all those other smaller prizes, put all that into supporting the people that are actually running the series. Put all that money into that, and then make the actual racing free so that when you have your guys that only want to race half the series or race a couple races, they don't feel like, oh, why would I pay all that money to only race a couple races? And your guys that aren't really super deep into it yet, they don't really know if they want to get into it, and they don't really know if they can do it. Well, there's always that paywall there now where it's like, well, guess I'm not going to do it because I would have to pay for it. And that's where a third of your pro racers are at right now. They're not even racing because you're charging them for it. And it's like, yeah, your one dude that wins the championship is going to be pissed off because he doesn't get the $900 custom helmet, but he'll actually have a series to come back to the next year, is what I'm saying. You know, it's like, that's the most important thing. If you don't have people racing, there's nothing left. That is downright the most important aspect. If no one's racing anymore, there's nothing there anyways. So you better do everything you can to keep people racing. And all I'm saying is before this terrain deformation, there was more people racing. That's all I'm saying. And before you start charging people to race, there was more people racing. I mean, any way that you look at it, you know, it's to that breaking point now where you don't even have full gates in your heat races. So it's to that point, EMF, where you need to do something. I mean, you either need to not charge people for outdoors, you need to totally shut this terrain deformation system off. You need to do something here because it's getting to that breaking point now. It's getting to that point where there's not even enough people for a win to mean anything anymore. It is literally it's starting to feel like you're just racing in some sort of custom race server, or, you know, you're like some random dude is just hosting the race. It doesn't even feel professional anymore. Like, for real. And that's not a good thing, man. That's terrible. I hate to see it starting to go down this road, but that's kind of the path it seems to be taking here, and it's really disappointing. I don't know how some people get the reins to do the things that they do. I don't know how Checkers gets put in charge of certain things, and then Peter Like and top dudes over there at EMF are arguing back and forth, but they're running the same series. Like, what is this shit circus mess that's going on here? Oh, man, it's terrible. It's god-awful. This is probably the most worried I've ever been for the pro racing and MX simulator history right now. It's the most worried because there's no, like, base of people that, like, actually have, like, true control power that know what the fuck they're doing. There's none of them anymore. None. Absolutely none. It's like you got guys over here don't really give a fuck. They just want it to be a damn motocross track on a supercross track because they think it's funny or some shit, or we're not manly enough, so let's try to test our manhood by putting 10,000 a road on the track or whatever the fuck Checkers is doing. I don't know what's going through his head. And then when we say 99% of us go in there and say, hey, dude, that's too much, he's like, nah, you guys, nah, you're just overreacting, bro. Nah, all you do is just overreacting. Oh my God. And he's the guy controlling all of this, you know? And then one of your dudes that's controlling the protest is arguing like a couple little teenagers with the main dude that's running EMF in the chat of the actual race. Oh my God. Like there's no base anymore. It's just all over the place now. I mean, you might as well have just a couple of random dudes running the shit because that's how it is right now. It's going a crazy way, but either way, shout out to SquidSquadSTL.com. I appreciate all the support, man. It's been a pretty crazy journey here the past month or so, but Yeah, dude. Appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.